Hello, great people. The former governor of Delta State and the vice presidential candidate during the 2023 presidential election under the People's Democratic Party, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, was arrested by EFCC. Now, in this video, I'll be telling you the political dynamics behind the arrest, what made the presidency to act, and what the presidency is trying to achieve by that particular arrest. And I'll also be giving you instances of greater, financial infractions that actions have not been taken. So I'll be telling you that and a whole lot more. I am a political scientist, so I'm bringing to you the political dynamics of that arrest. Now, let's dive into this thing, great people. First, I don't support anything corruption because Okowa has been accused of about 1.3 or 1.6 trillion naira. You can imagine if one person can allegedly cut away with 1.6 trillion naira. You now want to imagine that person has a deputy, right? That person, apart from the deputy, has commissioners, special advisors, right? Senior special advisors. So if all these people are cutting away with money, you can see that what is remaining in the state, nothing is remaining. And that's why you see that there's no development in the true sense of real development, whether human or infrastructural development that match up with other states across the world. It is absent in Nigeria because the politics is too lucrative. And that's why you see that these people, they want to kill themselves. Politicians will always want to die. They want to do anything humanly possible to perpetuate themselves in power, especially during election. Why? Because politics is very lucrative. If you have something that you can go into, and within a space of 8 years, you can be a trillionaire, tell me what will kind of like dissuade you from not going into it. Another thing is that politicians are now dwelling in the realm of trillions. Before, what is reigning is million. While I was quite a bit younger than this million, that, he's a millionaire, she's a millionaire. After that, it turned to billion, right? And billion was what was reigning. Even the video had to say, 30 billion for the account. Billion was what was reigning. But now, they moved to the realm of billion to trillion. So what we are now hearing in terms of looting of public resources is trillion. You can see when people are hungry, when people are starving, one person would have alleged to have stolen trillions. So if all the state governors are stealing in trillions, if those are in the presidency are stealing in trillions, if at the National Assembly, the Senate and House of Reps, they are stealing in trillions, tell me, my dear brother and sister, what will remain for you and I? Nothing. And that's why you see that government is not having much impact on the life of the citizen. And that's why you see that there's a disconnect between the country and the citizen. That's why that when Nigeria is mentioned, you see that Nigerians are strongly detached from Nigeria because they are not benefiting something mainly from the country. If you ask me now that DG, as a Nigerian citizen, what have you ever benefited from Nigeria? I'll just be looking at you like this because I can't point out to anything major that Nigeria has done for me. Now, let us look at one thing that is very, very important in terms of this EFCC arrest. Now, I'm going into the political dynamics now. Now, let's get something right. Nigeria is an all-sin and no-sin country. I'll repeat that. All-sin, that is A-double-L, all-sin country, and no-sin, that is N-O, no-sin country. What do I mean by that is, when you look how you'll be arrested, or if at all you'll be arrested at all, largely depends on not the crime that you've committed, but the clique that you belong to. Right? If you belong to the good clique, if you belong to the strong clique, popularly called the cabals, no matter the kind of sin you commit in Nigeria, nothing can happen to you. No pain can touch you. No EFCC can come near your dwelling. But if you don't belong to the right clique, in fact, anything you do is a sin. If government doesn't like your faith, they can charge you for anything. Anything you do in this Nigeria is a sin. If government want to use street parlance, if they want to waylay you. But then there's a 2027 perspective to this thing, and this is where it gets interesting. And this is where I need your attention. Now, there's a 2027 perspective to this thing. You would see that recently, I even made a video of it, that some people in the PDP, which is still the strongest opposition right now, Peter Obi is the poster boy of Labour Party. You remove Peter Obi from Labour Party is nothing. Now, for the PDP, some people have started strategizing, assembling themselves, and their permutation is favoring Seyi Makinde, which I did a video on, like about a week ago or something like that. That they are thinking that Seyi Makinde is in his second term and is a governor, incumbent governor. So when the election will be conducted, Seyi Makinde will still have immunity. So no matter what the Tinubu camp want to do, right, they cannot try or prosecute Seyi Makinde because he will still be having immunity. So they are seeing Seyi Makinde as a strategic candidate. But then Seyi Makinde is in the Wike camp, and the Wike camp is at loggerheads, and they've not been able to resolve the differences that is between the Wike camp, the G5, and the Atiku camp. So the Atiku camp also have been strategizing, looking for an alternative that, okay, Atiku Abubakar has been contesting, he has had interest in being president of Nigeria since 1993. So if the Southern agenda, holds sway that the South must do 8 years, if that persists, what is their alternative? So they have been shopping for a credible candidate that they can use to counter somebody like Seyi Makinde, right? And that person that they are looking towards the direction of is Ifeanyi Okowa. And I'll give you the reason why. Ifeanyi Okowa is the deputy to Atiku Abubakar in the 2027 presidential election. So they are thinking of it that the Yorubas, some of them are displeased with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so they will still get some vote from there. But then Ifeanyi Okowa is like a middleman between the South and the Southeast, in the sense that he's a former governor of Delta State, which is in the South. And his name, Ifeanyi, is a Southeast name, an Igbo name, which makes him to cut across to the Southeast. So Ifeanyi Okowa carries two emblems, which is the South and the Southeast. So they believe that Ifeanyi Okowa will be an easy sellout in the South, having gotten the South and the Southeast covered by virtue of his candidates. And that was one of the arguments that Atiku Abubakar, canvassed that time to pick Ifeanyi Okowa. Now, what is now the interest of Atiku? The interest of Atiku is to make sure that the Wike camp that is kind of like trying to push for Seyi Makinde do not have their way. And maybe most likely, when Ifeanyi Okowa emerges, they will now use Atiku's favorite as the vice president. They will give him that honor. Just as APC, when they brought Buhari, and Tinubu was to be the deputy of Buhari, but then the likes of Abubakar Bukola Saraki, the former Senate president, kicked against the vice presidential candidacy of Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the grounds of Muslim ticket. The likes of Abubakar Bukola Saraki asserted that we want to wrestle power from an incumbent president, which is Goodluck Jonathan at that time. So we must come clean to the people. There must not be anything strategic that they can use against us. So the idea of Muslim ticket will not fly. So when the argument, kind of like resonated among APC stakeholders at that time, they gave Bola Ahmed Tinubu the sole privilege to present the vice presidential candidate. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu, according to his oration in public domain, nominated one person because he said he didn't want to give them two. That if you give them two, they can change it to three. So he gave only one name, which is Yemi Osinbajo. That is what they used to pacify Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So in this case, the Atiku faction in the PDP are looking at it that if they eventually have their way and gain control of the party, then Atiku will just give Ifeanyi Okowa the backing. That is if Atiku's luck is not shining. But if the public permutation and the body language of Nigerians does not go on the aspect of ethnicity, that it is the turn of the South, this North-South, argument, if it doesn't hold sway, Atiku will take another shot at the ticket. But if it holds sway, then they will push forward Ifeanyi Okowa and give Atiku Abubakar that leverage to appoint a vice president who, at the end of the day, may be one of his close associates, somebody that he trusts well. So that is the permutation that they have in mind. But then, the signal, you know that there are fifth columnists in the PDP, and also there are fifth columnists in the APC as well, that they will go and carry the talk. When they talk for APC, they'll go carry and give PDP. There are people in PDP too that anything where they talk for PDP, they'll go carry and give APC. So the signal had gotten to some people in the presidency, and it is best for them now to cut Okowa to side. Now, get me right. I didn't say that Okowa did not allegedly stole money. No, it is not in my position to say it. But it is not Okowa that has been accused of stealing money. Honorable Ewo, one of the political stakeholders in Rivers State, asserted that Nyesom Wike stole over 2 trillion naira. Which one is more? Is it 1.3 million, or 1.3 trillion, 1.6 trillion, or 2 trillion, over 2 trillion naira? But then today, because Nyesom Wike is in the right clique, is in the, perhaps it's part of the innermost cabal, nothing is happening to him. In fact, the presidency that is supposed to caution him so that Rivers will not enter crisis is even the one allegedly backing him up and has failed to caution him. But then you ask yourself, how will the president caution him when the president himself lacks that moral standing? He himself having been a godfather and still the person that have made godfatherism pronounced in the history of Nigeria. So you will see that the way things are going, it is a way of cutting Ifeanyi Okowa to size, in the sense that if he has cases in court and his case turned out to be like that of Emefiele, right, and the cases are going back and forth in court, definitely he won't have that good imagery to contest for president in 2027, and that would give Tinubu the leeway. You understand? So one of the best strategy in politics is to quickly cut your opponent to size before it is too late. But if they want to be doing over investigation and they want to now be arraigning Ifeanyi Okowa in 2026, you understand, it will be a problem. It will be too suspicious. That is why it is best to act now. Again, I'm not saying that Ifeanyi Okowa did not commit any infraction. In fact, it is impossible to rule as a governor in Nigeria and you wouldn't have leaked soup one way or the other. You understand? Your mouth is oily. If you have ever ruled as a governor in Nigeria, it's just that the amount that you may have taken for yourself may be smaller than another person. But definitely, as two Baba will say, nobody only pass. So that is the political dynamics behind Okowa's arrest, and somebody like Wike is still working scot-free because Wike is an instrument for the Tinubu camp in 2027. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politin with Dr. Omoshola. Dr. JD is a political scientist with a PhD in political science. And this is where we analyze politics and happenings in the polity. Do well to subscribe. Do well to turn on your notification button. Do well to like this video. Catch up with my past videos. And of course, I have great videos coming your way. Lots of them. So stay tuned. Keep it locked to this channel. Till I see you again. Of course, you already know that I love you all sincerely.